Welcome back to Adolescence, where we talk about that phase of life between adolescence and adulthood.
I'm Laura.
And I am Jess. And this is Luca.
Oh, we have a special guest.
A special guest today.
Jess is
here.
Joggeroonie.
He's here to wreak havoc, as he always does.
Yes.
I'm here to interrogate him about why I've lost sleep for the past week. Why I keep being woken up at 2 a.m. to cries. Would you like to defend yourself, sir?
Whether he recommends getting a dog or not after college.
Yep. Whether he would rather get a cat after college.
What are your thoughts, Luca? Share with the class.
He said, get me and feed me lots of treats. All right. Well, today we're not talking about dogs. We're actually talking about, make sure I'm talking about dogs. The dating pool.
Hound dogs.
Hound dogs. We're talking about defrosting your dating life.
Yep, we're entering spring. Well, I guess we're in spring. We're entering summer.
Spring has sprung, as all the t-shirts at Target say.
Spring has sprung, and we're getting back into it. But before we get into the topic today, a quick reminder, as always, to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. Share with a friend. And, follow us on TikTok. That's the other thing.
Yeah. And here's a plug we don't do very often. We have a website that's full of articles. So if you're looking for just like the right article to send passive-aggressively to a friend or your mom, go to www.adolescence.com. That's spelled A-D. Well, just look at him. Look above us.
Yeah, look at your screen if you're listening to the podcast. And it says it right there.
Yes. If you're watching us.
All right, so let's get into dirty, dirty deets.
Let's do it. So, why are we even talking about this today? Well, I know, Luca, it's very stressful getting back into dating, but at least in our parts of the country, the Northeast, it's kind of a time of year to just like hibernate and hole up, and a lot of people kind of pare back on the dating for the winter.
Yeah, totally. And I think that in the summer and spring, it's just a thing where people just date more. I mean, we've all heard of hot girl summer. It's just a time of year to just get out there and live your best life because, I don't know, the weather's not holding you back. You can just go wreak havoc.
Yeah, I feel like you just feel confident, you feel tan, you feel lighthearted, there's more sunshine. Like, in the winter, I just truly feel like my ugliest version of myself. So the thought of going out and dating is like actually the last thing on my agenda. Like, it's hard enough to go hang out with friends, let alone put on a face full of makeup and pretend I'm cool, you know?
Yeah, I feel like an ideal cycle, if you're single, is to have your winter to just hibernate and pursue your own hobbies and do your thing, and then have the summer to let loose. So I think, though, it's one thing to just feel like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get out there, I can't wait to do it, and then it's another thing to actually do it. And I think it can be intimidating and hard, especially when you've spent several months, maybe even years, just not dating that much. So
yeah, I remember when I was dating, I would go through phases where I would like maybe take a break from dating. Maybe I had like a situationship end roughly, and I was like, I just need some time off. But it is always scary getting back into it because, like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes we like put dating on this pedestal where it has to be this really intimidating thing that's so scary to do, and we work ourselves up so much that it can be really hard to go do that thing when we anticipate it being so negative and like challenging. At least getting yourself to the date, not the date itself, you know?
So I think that with dating, there can be this mentality that we have to be all or nothing. So either we're in the dating pool and we're going on 2 dates a week, or we're not dating at all.
We feel like if we're going to reintroduce ourselves to dating, we have to go out with a bang and like be the best dater there is and like be perfect for all these dates. When in reality, it's okay if you have a couple like shitty dates to start off with just to get back into things.
Yeah, and it's okay if you decide like, I want to date, but I don't want to make it a huge part of my life. So I'll go on a couple dates every month, but I'm not going to go on 3 dates a week.
Right.
It's also okay.
Yeah, I think we just need to like normalize like, well, A, not making dating like the center of our universe we don't want it to be, but also just like having like bad dates. It's just part of the process, you know? You're gonna probably get back into dating. Maybe you feel a little bit awkward at first, but Newsflash. Everyone feels awkward dating.
Oh, so true. So yeah, I think that if you're getting back out there, we'll give you some pointers.
Yeah. So, first things first is clear the roster of any people that you don't care about.
Losers.
Any losers. Because chances are you may have picked up a few just to get you through the winter blues, you know, just maybe had a guy or a gal on the back burner who was just there for the season, but
Cuffing season.
And it's time to drop them because you don't have space on your summer roster for average Joes.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, I think in general too, just same with friendship, same with everything in life, like having less people to deal with can lead to deeper, better connections. So
For sure. So spring clean your roster. Step number 1.
And then I think if you're thinking practically about how to get back out there, focus on pursuing your own hobbies. I feel like, honestly, those are when the most authentic, just kind of random connections can pop up, is if you're just, I'm just going to take a painting class because I want to paint, and maybe you'll meet a hot painter dude there. Or I'm going to join this volleyball league, and then maybe you'll meet someone there. Like,
yeah,
there's ways to meet people out in the open. It doesn't have to be the apps.
So true. You're right that summer does open up a lot of those options. Like, through those hobbies, it's like actually a pretty easy invite to just be like, hey, you want to go practice our beach volleyball skills together?
Yeah.
And then,
or even, yeah, you could just, if you are meeting people on the app, you could bring up like fun social activities as your date instead of just the classic dinner and drinks or whatever.
Because that can be high pressure sometimes. To like always be going to drinks and dinner, like it just feels a little bit more formal than like if you're just gonna go for a walk or a hike or play some beach volleyball.
Yeah, totally. I feel like those are just more casual ways to hang out. So
I mean, pickleball I feel like is the sport of the season. So
yes,
ask someone to go play pickleball outside.
So true. Pickleball and also with sports like that, it's pretty easy to pick up. So even if you or they haven't ever done it before, you can, I mean, not that it's easy to do, but it's easy to understand.
Yeah, exactly. I also feel like it's good to throw those things into your dating profile to entice people to like have an easy in with you. Like, say I'm trying to get better at pickleball this summer. I'm looking for someone to help me with my golf swing. Like, these are fun ways to like just entice people to like reach out to you, especially if you're in a heterosexual like type dating pool. Men love to mansplain to women. So
another thing I think you should do if you're thinking about getting back out there is just really think about what you're looking for, because it doesn't have to be your life partner. It doesn't have to be, you know, your next long-term boyfriend. Maybe you are just looking to have fun. You just want to meet some new people and like get out there again, and that's okay. That can be what you're looking for. It doesn't have to be more serious than that.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm kind of a flip side of things here. You can also be very selective. Like, just because you're getting back into dating for the, you know, summer or spring, whatever, doesn't mean you have to like date everyone. Like, you can be super picky and only go on dates every couple weeks if you want, and only say yes if it's someone that you like, that checks all your boxes. Like, you don't have to, just because you're dating now, like, really hit the pool hard. Like, you're allowed to just kind of take it as it comes. Like, whoever looks attractive. Not like... Because sometimes I feel like people, when they're in the throes of dating, like, they treat it almost like a sport. It's like, okay, I'm going on, like, 2 dates a week. I'm, like, hitting the apps hard. It doesn't have to be that way, you know?
Yeah, and along those same lines, I listened to the You Up podcast, and they have a couple episodes dedicated to talking about, both of the hosts have created like lists. So it's like their ideal list. It's every quality that if they could find someone that met every single one of these qualities, it would be amazing. And I feel like that could be a fun activity to do with some friends, maybe. Just make your lists. And like, obviously with the understanding that maybe you're not going to meet someone that hits every single thing, but it's like, if you could have your pick, this is what you're looking for. And then I think it's easier when you're out in the wild to be like, oh, that guy checks like a lot of boxes for me.
Yeah. Okay, I just saw a TikTok of this girl who, she made a PowerPoint presentation to her friends of like their summer mood board. And she was like, guys, this is our vibe of the summer. This is our bar of the summer. These are the restaurants we're going to hit. Like, this is our mood board. You could do a PowerPoint night with your friends of like, these are the men we're meeting this summer. Like,
yeah,
that would be so fun.
That would be so fun. I feel like, yeah, and it kind of manifests in a way. Like, it's just a way to put out into the world. This is what I'm looking for.
Right. And like, you touched on this. Like, you don't have to be dating to find like your life partner. Like, you could be dating to just like have fun. And I feel like sometimes we take out the fun of dating because we put so much pressure on every single interaction. But in reality, not every person needs to be like your potential partner. You can just like have a good time, enjoy people's company. Like, I think taking the pressure off can make it a lot less daunting to get back into dating.
That it's so true. I feel like it feels like, oh, it can't be fun if I'm not falling in love. Like,
right.
Or, oh, that date failed, so therefore it was a waste of time. Whereas, no, maybe you met someone cool that you liked and learned something about yourself and got to do a fun activity or go to a fun bar that you wouldn't have gone to otherwise. Like, there are positive things that can come out of it. So I feel like focusing on those things. And in the summer, I think it's easier to focus on those things because maybe you're, oh, we went to this cool rooftop bar. Like, didn't work out with the guy, but I got to go to this bar. It was cool.
Yeah. I feel like the winter, it feels a lot more pressureful because you're like, if I'm going to get ready and leave this house in the snow, this better be the best date of my life.
Literally.
Summertime, you're probably bopping around outdoors anyway. So, yeah, just like it's a lower pressure time of year. And you can also take that pressure off yourself.
Yeah. I think it's easier to date in the summer.
Yeah. It's funny because I feel like our next tip is kind of like sort of contradicting what we just said.
Yeah.
But it's like to manage your expectations essentially. And I feel like you can do this while also like still being like, you know, silly and manifesting your dream partner.
Yes.
Like you can do both, I think. Like as long as you're not taking that list like too seriously. And it depends on what you're looking for, right? Like if your main goal this summer is like, I want to have fun with my friends, but like if the right person comes along, then I'll date, then the first approach works. But if you really are like really wanting a partner and you want to put some like grease into dating, like I think it is important to manage your expectations because no one's going to like just magically check every box.
Yeah, and I think also it's again sort of back to that idea that you get out what you put in.
Yes.
So if you're oh, I really want to find a partner, but you're not going on a lot of dates and you're not really doing the things that you would need to do in order to get there, then manage those expectations once again. If you're like, I really want to find a partner, but also I have plans every single weekend this summer with my friends, like,
right.
Good luck with that.
I know. It's so hard in the summertime because I feel like that's when you're feeling your best. But it's also when a lot of us are our busiest.
Yeah.
Like we have so many social plans and we're going on weekend trips all the time. So it can be tough. But again, like if you really are like in the market for a partner, which is a fine thing to want, I think, you have to get yourself out there and also not expect to find like the perfect specimen of a human being.
Yes.
Because that's never the case. And like obviously we joke about like manifesting your dream man, but like the reality is like none of us are just gonna find that person. It's very rare that someone checks every box.
Yeah, I honestly don't know anyone that is with like a partner that I feel like they're like, he checks every box.
Yeah. Like it's funny 'cause me and my roommate in college used to lay in bed at night like talking about the person we'd end up with someday. And I don't know, I had like a totally different picture back then of like who I'd end up with than my current boyfriend, and like not in a bad way. I feel like life surprises you and like for the better a lot of times, but
yeah,
it's rare that you're gonna find, like when you're in college you're like, oh, I will find a man who's super hot and owns his own business and is a millionaire at 27 and has a golden retriever and likes to go for runs on Saturday morning. Like it's easy to say that when you're in college, but the reality is you're not going to find that man.
Most likely not. Sorry to burst your bubble.
But that's okay.
That's what Colleen Hoover books are for.
That's why I hate Colleen Hoover books.
But also, like, I don't know. I think we all, again, in college or just in general, we all think that we're that girl. And as soon as we jump back onto the dating scene, there's going to be a guy that just sweeps us off our feet. And we're that girl. We're the main character. And we're just going to have our love story. And it's going to happen so fast. And you're probably not that girl.
You're probably not. It's because we watched too much TV growing up where that was the case. It's like Bridget Jones, who's super awkward and does like weird shit all the time, like ends up with this these men chasing
Hugh
after
Grant
her.
is, like, fighting for her.
Right, exactly. Like, that's what we were raised with, is like, that's the kind of man that we just attract when we put in the slightest ounce of effort. We just go through our makeover scene, we, you know, cut our hair, we put on some makeup, and suddenly, like, our dream man appears, and that's all it takes. But
Yeah.
'tis not the case.
Yeah, sorry to burst your bubble. You're not Rory Gilmore.
You don't want to be.
So I think also worth trying different ways of dating. So obviously we've talked a lot about just getting out there because it's summer, being social, but you can also be on the apps. You know, meet an app guy, tell him to meet you out with your friends. That's another way to date.
Yeah. I feel like, I don't know, as you get older too, you can just feel a little more rogue with these things. Like, I maybe not even older. Maybe I think it's older, but maybe it's just like this new wave of life. But I feel like on TikTok, I always see things of like, oh, me and my 3 best girlfriends all invited a Hinge date to a dinner party. And we like hung out. Like, and I think that kind of comes with just like taking dating less seriously and having more fun with it. Do something rogue, like ask your Hinge date to go to a concert with you, or like,
Yeah.
I don't know, be like, do you want to go, me and my friends are on this bar crawl, want to meet up with us? Like, I don't know. I used to kind of think like, oh, there has to be this order of operations. Like, we have our solo first 5 dates, and then maybe he meets a couple of my friends and like all this stuff. But it really doesn't have to be that way. Like, and I think the summertime is the perfect time for those more casual encounters where maybe like they're meeting up with you and your friends on the first date or something like that.
Totally, yeah, because there's just already a lot going on. And I think, again, you're super busy in the summer, so maybe there's a way to incorporate that person into some of your busy plans instead of trying to set aside a certain number of nights each week to go on, quote unquote, go on dates. Like,
Right.
You can just have them come to stuff.
Yeah. If I were to do dating again, I think I would just like remove a lot of the pressure. Like, and I feel like summer is just naturally a more lighthearted, fun time of year regardless.
Yeah, honestly, you're onto something there, girl.
Just because if you don't treat it like it's a big deal, then first of all, you feel less stressed, but also like it puts less pressure on the relationship working out, and the person probably is like more attracted to you because you're so casual.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this girl's just so confident, just inviting you.
Yes.
Your friends, first date.
Right, exactly.
But then also, yeah, you're probably going to feel more comfortable. I feel like if I was on a first date with someone, with my friends, I would probably feel a little more just to be myself. Because I'm not going to act like weird first date girl when my friends are there. Like,
right.
They're going to be like, why are you being like this?
Yeah. They're gonna be like, that's not her, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
Whoever this pick-me girl is over here.
Yeah. I feel like the most fun experiences I've had with guys, not even ones that like I was going on a formal date with, but like guys that I met and maybe we like hit it off, is just like when it started off as like, I don't know, I feel like this always happens when I'm traveling. Like, I'll have like a crazy fun experience with a guy because I just like met him in another country and like I'm feeling already very casual and lighthearted. Or like I'm at a day party with a bunch of my friends and I meet a guy and then we're being all silly together or like doing stupid shit. Like it just takes the pressure off. Whereas I feel like sometimes when it's like structured as a date, you don't really get to show your full personality because it's like not the right setting for that.
No, and you feel like you have to be in this interview and ask them all the right questions and
be demure and interesting and what's the phrase they always use for the girls in the books? Like she was so beautiful but so aloof and she didn't even know that everyone loved her. Like
just a hottie that didn't know it.
She's a recluse.
Yeah, of course.
You know?
Who's also still very socially gifted.
Yeah, exactly. Anastasia Steele.
Yes.
I think kind of on the tails of that, like don't rush into things either. I think that summer, any time that you're defrosting your dating life, even if it's not summertime, it's kind of the time we're referencing, spring, summer. But I think it's important to just not rush into anything. Like that's how you end up in maybe a relationship that you regret, or you're like, oh shoot, I got too far along with this person, I don't know how to end things. Like,
yeah,
just take your time with it. Like there's no rush. No matter how many times your mom asks you when you're gonna have a boyfriend, or how many times your grandma asks you if you're still single, like there's really no reason to rush.
Yeah, it's just better not to, because then you don't have to get out of it.
Yeah, that happens. I feel like I know certain people who just, like, always kind of end up in relationships. Like me. Okay, yes, but yours always tend to last a while. Like, I have a couple friends, I feel like, who just kind of, like, just let relationships, like, happen. And then suddenly they, like, have this stressful moment where they're like, oh, crap, I don't like this person, I have to break up with them. And I'm always like, I would never even let it get to, like, the relationship stage of calling each other boyfriend and girlfriend, or girlfriend, whatever, if I didn't know that I liked you. Like, I would never, like, be 8 months in and then be like, oh, well, I guess I have to break it up. Like, we wouldn't be in a relationship if I didn't, like, at least have some confidence that I liked you.
Yeah. No, that's true. I feel like I'm not like that. I definitely liked everyone that I dated.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I think also, just in general, when you rush into things, like, I don't know, it kind of loses some of the fun. Like, I think it can be exciting to be like, oh my gosh, I'm in this whirlwind romance, but when you rush all of the fun parts of dating just to get to the, I don't know, the rest of your life, which is just this normal, like, you're just with this person and it's not that exciting anymore. Like, I don't know. Right. It's so fun in the beginning, so why rush it?
And you can love the person you're with and have so much fun together. It'll never be the same thrill of, like, when you're first meeting people and when there's quantity out there.
Yeah.
There's something very thrilling about texting 3 guys at once and being like, who am I going to hang out with tonight? Like, that's fun. And you...
Or going out to a bar and not knowing where the night could lead.
Right. Why would you rush out of that? Like, that's a phase of life that you'll... I mean, you could get it back if you end up, like, ending a long-term relationship, but, like, you're not going to be in your 20s doing it again.
Right. If the end
special
goal,
time period.
If the end goal is partnership, then, yeah, you're ideally not going to have that time of life again. So I think it's important to just really listen to what people are saying instead of what they want, what you want to hear. So, for example, if someone says to you, I just got out of a long-term relationship, I'm not looking for anything serious, that doesn't mean if the right person comes along, I'm going to marry you. That's not what they said.
Right. And, like, if you choose to ignore those things, you can just end up discouraged and hurt because you're like, why couldn't I change them? It's like, well, girl, he told you.
Yeah, just believe people in what they say. And I think also just in general, being a better listener is always good. Like, feeling like you're actively listening. I think it's so easy on a date to be caught up in, like, how do I look? Do I look okay? Like, while they're talking, you're not really listening to what they say. And then you realize at the end of the date that you don't remember anything that you talked about because you were so focused on yourself. And obviously that's normal to an extent, but I think just trying to focus on listening to the other person and being a good conversationalist over, like, what you look like or what you sound like.
Yeah. And, like, the truth is, they're not paying attention to, like, your body language or something like that. Like, they're thinking about what they're going to say next, too. And I feel like practicing just listening and relaxing into the conversation can really make dating a lot less stressful. Asking good questions and then listening can take a lot of pressure off the date because you're just sitting back and enjoying the ride versus, like, feeling like you have to keep the conversation moving along, you know?
You know what that reminds me of? I feel like it is so stressful when you're in a conversation with a new person and you're just... I feel like you're constantly trying to think of, like, okay, if this conversation dies down, what can be our next move so there's no lull in conversation? I'm here to say it's okay if there's a lull in conversation. Like, it's okay if the conversation dies down for a sec. I mean, that's just normal. I feel like you're not just going to naturally flow from topic to topic to topic and, like, never have a break. Maybe you will with someone you have an amazing connection with, but in all likelihood, there's going to be a point in time where the conversation kind of stalls, and that's okay.
Oh, that's such a good point, and I feel like I really struggle with any sort of pause with anyone. I'm like, I need to keep this conversation moving for it to be a good conversation. And I feel like if there's ever a silence, then I'm like, oh my God, I failed. Like, I did bad in that conversation. But, like, we should normalize pauses.
Yes.
Like, take them. And I feel like I notice this with older people. They'll talk, like my grandma. She's very just intentional with her words. She'll talk, she'll have a good, and she's a great conversationalist, by the way. She'll talk, and then she'll pause and ponder what you said. And then she'll come back with a question, or she'll say something else, or tell a story, like, and that is the level of comfort I'd like to get to in my life.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes I am very, like, I'm the same way, where I kind of want to rush to the next topic, or I don't spend time thinking. But like when I've had conversations with people like that, I do think you're right. It's a lot of older people that are just very comfortable with themselves. Sometimes it makes me feel uncomfortable. I'm like, okay, like answer. I'm like, say something.
You gonna get back to me, girl?
Yeah. But I think we all should get better at doing it and get used to it.
Yeah. Normalize pauses in conversations. And you know what? If you're defrosting for the season to start dating again and you realize mid-defrost that you don't want to defrost, you'd rather just not date, that's fine too. And it's okay to not date. Like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes in our 20s we feel like we have to be rushing to date and find a partner, but like, it's totally okay to just take time for yourself and enjoy it.
Yeah, it's okay to go back in the freezer.
Yep. Get that chicken back in there.
Come out another day. No
Well,
chicken tacos for you tonight.
Oh, that's so sad. Here's an analogy. Do you ever like forget to take your chicken out of the freezer too late? This is disgusting for vegetarians, I imagine, but do you ever feel like you take your chicken out of the freezer too late and you're like, I'm either gonna like have to defrost it a really shitty way, like put it in a bowl of water and then it's all nasty and like defrost it in the microwave, or I can just have my chicken tomorrow and it's gonna be much better.
Yeah.
That's like dating. If you're not ready yet, you're just going to be a sad, boiled chicken.
That's so true. Wow, that's deep.
On that note, get out there, chicken.
Go flee the coop. We'll see you next week.
Bye, besties.
Bye.
I want to get a picture of you guys together.
Oh.